on our findings. Later this evening, this will be more comprehensive report, which will be more analytical than this one. But before we start, I would like my colleagues on the Electoral Analysis Center to introduce themselves. My name is Adele Jinodu, and I'm the chairman of the Electoral Analysis Center. So I start. Are you always on my right?
Yes. Okay, my name is Remy Ajibewa. I was formerly Director of Political Affairs at ECOWAS, and I'm now independent consultant on the board today.
Victor Adetula, University of Jos.
Yusuf Ali, Bayer University, Kano.
Jackson Tamusaki Jack from the Federal University of Bayelsa State.
Sharamo from the International IDEA.
Jilo Fadiman from Nasarawa State University and fellow at the Center for Development and Democracy.
Progress A.B. Mahmoud. I'm a private lawyer, formerly president of the Nigerian Bar Association.
You didn't say SAN.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Funke Barua. I'm a gender and development practitioner and a program officer for the Ford Foundation Office for West Africa.
Jibril Ibrahim, Senior Fellow Center for Democracy and Development.
My name is Naji Bala, the National President, Nigerian Association of Women Journalists.
Joe Abba, Country Director, DAI, and also Maastricht University in the Netherlands.
Ayumala Mulrotu from Babcock University, United States.
My name is Chris Isiguzo, President, Nigeria Union of Journalists, President, Congress of African Journalists.
My name is Awal Musa Sanjani, member Lead Election Analysis Center.
Now, unlike yesterday, I'm going to stand up and talk because I see I want to go back to China. So I will stand up.
Because of our
But
you can sit down because of the sit down, sir. Because of the mic. Yes, because of the mic.
Then if I fall below expectations, it's your fault. Before we go into the press briefings proper, I want to give a few words in terms of background to what we have done and how we have got to where we are now to be able to issue this press statement. But I hope, because of the introductions that we have done, our colleagues from other situation rooms who are sitting down looking as if they are being harassed, I hope you will not feel intimidated. But we'll go back, we'll take something nice from here. So it's a pleasure to welcome you all, because I think it's all in the spirit of cooperation. I will come to your own voice. Said in the preliminary statement we issued yesterday, our work for this the general elections for this year was framed around 5 issues that we've seen as trending in our electoral politics since independence, and also more recently over the last 2 electoral cycles, in terms of the dramatic improvement in INEC's preparation for the elections. The 5 areas are identity, 2, insecurity, 3, institutions, 4, and 5, intra and inter-party politics. Now, in preparing this interim statement that we are putting together, giving you today, we are focusing only on 2 of the issues, namely insecurity, institutions, because the process is still unfolding, and we cannot say more on the other 3 because we have enough data, at least to talk in terms of trending, what is trending in respect of insecurity and institutions. The statement that follows has drawn on the basic source of data, of course, under our own control, because these are the people we have trained to go and observe and give us information that will help us analysis of what they have observed on the field. The second source, of course, is information from other sources, which we feel that we cannot disregard. Find them yet, but at least I think we owe it as a responsibility to the general public to see that these are pieces of other information which may not have been highlighted adequately or properly, or even not at all, in what we are getting from the field, but which we think will complement our own, should complement what we have said, even though we have not been able to verify them. But we have reasonable basis to believe that they may be true. So we go to introductory words. And the findings that we have got, this statement we are preparing is what we have noticed, the reports we have got as of 12:30 today. So the next set of report will be what has happened after 12:30, till the time we present the report. And I know we don't have the Chatham rules, but it's my pleasure to delegate to an analyst, a distinguished member of our group, the task of reading the statement that we have prepared for you. And after that, we'll take questions if you have any. So it's my pleasure to talk on Ladi Bala, the president of the
All right.
PNC.
This a press statement as prepared by the team, so I will just be presenting the statement as it's written here. So, the observers in each of the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory had fed data to the EAC using ICT tools. Data clerks double check entries from the field observers, and the raw data was passed on to the EAC team of analysts made up of renowned scholars and subject matter experts. This preliminary statement provides an overview of CDD EAC findings on the conduct of the elections based on observer data received and analyzed at 1 p.m. It talks predominantly on 2 of the 5 I's that the EAC identified in its launch report and institutions. Arrival of officials. Our observer data indicated late arrival of poll officials to their respective polling units across the country. Across the country, almost 50% of INEC poll officials arrived on time for the commencement of the process. However, the Southeast and South-South recorded the lowest percentage of poll officials arriving on time. In the Southeast, only 10% of poll officials arrived their respective polling unit on time, and in South-South, it was 27%. In the Northeast, 42% of poll officials got to their polling unit on time, while in Northwest, North Central, and Southwest, the figure was over 50%. However, Lagos, the state with highest number of registered voters, recorded just 18% in terms of timely arrival of INEC officials. The average opening time across the country was 9:25 a.m. That is a clear 1 hour after polling was scheduled to start. On average, CDD EAC observation showed INEC officials arrived for set up and commencement of the process between 9:30 and 10:30 a.m. in the polling unit observed. The Southeast, the average time for opening of the polls was 10:56 a.m. CDD EAC observers have also been reporting several instances of polls not opening even at 12:30 p.m. In several cases, observers' findings reported security officials arriving the polling stations while INEC officials had not arrived to open the polls. Availability and functionality of beavers. Observer data showed the availability of one bimodal voter accreditation system (BVAS) device in 98.8 of polling units. However, there have been reports of various glitches during the accreditation process, which contributed to delay in voting in places such as Borno State. There have been some reports of violence and voter suppression in some parts of the country. We have asked our observers in the field to gather more information about these issues. On the whole, we commend Nigerians on their participation and peaceful conduct so far, although we note growing reports of voters' frustration by the speed of the voting process. Our recommendations. We commend Nigerians on their determination to vote and encourage them to remain patient as they cast their ballots and to prevent people who want to try and disrupt the process. While voting has started late or where process have still not started, we encourage INEC to extend the voting period in order to enable all who want to do so to cast their ballots. We urge the security agency to ensure that they remain neutral in their electoral day activities and actions. We commend INEC on their continued responsive communication with voters and all key stakeholders. Finally, we commend all Nigerians who have patiently exercised their democratic rights to vote. Thank you very much for listening.
MC, can I have questions? You want questions and observations, please, if there are any. The press statements will be circulated at the end of this briefing.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I just have one question. Do you have any idea or an estimate on turnout? What's going on? I'm Rudy Altman with DNI.
Thank you. We'll have another one.
Thank you, Adam. Jonathan Rose with the Committee to Protect Journalists. I'm wondering if you can expand a little bit on incidents that you've found, especially journalists, in terms of security, their safety, and access so far. Thank you.
Security access. Security access.
Security of journalists.
First TV. You did mention that the report is based on two institutions and this authority. But beyond the malicious, beyond the reporters' suppression that you mentioned in some places, we didn't hear about the insecurity that you said is going to address in the report.
Let's respond to on the insecurity issue. There was a reference to reports of violence in some parts of the country to which we made reference. But when we did a comprehensive report at the end, we will make some statement with that. But there are reports that we got that we want to confirm before we say them.
As we said in our first press conference, insecurity is one of the issues we are monitoring very closely and for which we have a lot of concern. I think the general point that can be made is that the level of insecurity is not sufficiently high to significantly affect the polling. On the question of the turnout, our own observers just visited, we have less than 5,000 observers, so we can't make a general statement on the turnout for the polls, but INEC has indicated that it would soon give exact numbers of what the turnout is. And in any case, in the first preliminary report, you can't give turnout because people are still going to vote. Therefore, it's much too early to talk about the numbers for the turnout.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Jonathan. You're talking about the safety of journalists. At this moment, we have not received any report about any form of intimidation or harassment of any journalists out there. Apparently, because of the increased engagement we had with security agencies in the build-up to this election. But we are observing events. Thank you.
Anybody want to see? Any more questions?
Basically, I want to ask about the observation of different people with observations about
Okay, with regards to disability-friendly polling units, we're still monitoring that. We've asked monitors to look out for that, but we've received reports of people with physical disabilities or pregnant women or elderly people being given priority to vote. But with regards to the actual disability-friendly polling units, we're still.
And we look forward to seeing you in the afternoon when the PP statement will be circulated.
Preliminary briefing. Just to let you know that our final report will communicate the date and time to you. Thank you so much for coming.
Okay. You are making